Hello, you are listening to Cali Chats, a healthy living podcast with a goal of helping you find true happiness within your mind, body, and soul. I'm Jessie Cali, and it is time to get real. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cali Chats and the second part of the three-part series. This is 30. Yes, we are getting closer and closer to my 30th birthday, which happens to be this Friday. So if you haven't listened to the last week's episode yet, I highly recommend fast forwarding back to a week ago and checking it out. In the first part, we dig into the past, a look back into my 20s, and I even dug up an old blog post from way back in 2014. Wild. 2014. So a long time ago, people. Now that we've gotten the look back into the past over with, it is time to reflect. I did a whole thanking my 20s tour last week, like legit, just a ton of thanking. And some other things. So there's no need to dive back into that. And we're just going to keep moving forward, all right? This week, we are going to be exploring the things we wish that we knew back at the start of our 20s and in our early adulthood days. So I have tons of advice for my younger self, as I'm sure you do too. But I was curious to know what my fellow peers and friends wish their younger self to know as well. Like, I just was really curious what all of my friends were thinking. Like, what do they want to tell a younger them? How did I do that? Obviously, I went to Facebook and Instagram. Got right on my social media on my Cali Creates, and I also shared it on my personal one. And I posted a story with the questions add-on, and voila! The advice came rolling in. All I did was say, I'm curious, like, what advice would you give to a younger you? And it was really inspiring to see what everyone had to say to their younger self. Today, I'm going to share this advice, and I'm going to mix it up with some of my advice as well. Whether you're in your early 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, or hey, I mean, honestly, any age. You could be any age and listen to this and learn something. I hope that this advice can help shape you to the best version of you that you're building as you grow older and wiser. Ultimately, I think this advice is legit great for anyone. I'm serious. Like any age group, any person, anyone listening to this, you can get something out of this if you're willing to do some self-improvement. So stick around, get comfy. Unless you are driving. If you are driving, please do not get too comfy. Pay attention. Pay attention to the road. Anyway, hopefully you will learn something today and feel empowered to make some positive changes in your life. All right. Yay. So let's get started. I'm curious to know what you guys think the main topics of today's advice will be. There was quite a range of different topic areas that people's advice fell into, and I was able to narrow it down to 4 main topics. These topics will also serve as the different segments of today's episode, which I think will be very cool to dive into. And I'm just curious, I wonder if you guys know what kind of advice you would have given to you. I also recently did an audit of all the published episodes of Cali Chats. This is totally off topic, and apologies. But I use the number 4 a lot. Like, a lot. It is my favorite number, the number 4. So maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't know. During that fun ramble, were you able to think on what you think the main topics may be? Have any idea? Well, whatever, we'll see. We'll see if you got some of them right. Without further ado, the main topics of advice that came in from the listeners and fans of Cali Chats were, number 1, spending and investing habits. Money. And number 2, interpersonal relationships. And that's not just like, you and your significant other. That's also friendships, family, all of that kind of stuff, relationships in general. Number 3, career networking and career insight. So I got some in about networking, but I also did get some in that was just some general advice about your career. And then lastly, number 4, we are going to walk into words of wisdom. This one is one of my favorites. It's the last one. And that was basically everything that could not fit into one topic went into this topic because tons of you gave me great advice that you would give to a younger you that was basically just great advice, just like that whole build you up type of stuff. It honestly gets me all the goosies. I was all in my feels when I was reading them, and so I cannot wait to share those with you guys. So stick around to the end of the episode where you get to hear the words of wisdom. I seriously thought it was so awesome to see like all the feedback and advice that like rolled through super quickly actually, because those add-ons for the questions only last 24 hours. And within 24 hours, there was tons of feedback. So it sounds like, just like me, a lot of you have a lot of advice for a younger you. It's like when I read through them that the words were stolen right from my mouth and are very in line with how I feel when I look back at a younger me. We've all been through a lot of life, and now we get to come together and share for others to hopefully help them not have the same mistakes. But, sometimes you just got to learn from mistakes. So maybe they are just going to listen and do it. But whatever, we'll see. So let's jump into our first topic. The first topic is about investing and saving your money and all of that fun stuff that comes with money. We love money, don't we? We also love spending money, don't we? Or is that just me? No, it's got to be you too. Unless you happen to be one of those people who just has always been able to save money and never break open that piggy bank, honestly, I cannot relate to that. Cannot relate. I was the person that would put, like $1 in there and be like, man, I need that back. I actually don't think I ever really saved that much in my piggy bank. I will say I did better with glass jars. Like if I put my change in glass jars, I did a lot better because I could see it. I could see it growing. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all that change. Anyway, I always say to other people when I talk about money that I wish that in school they actually taught us about money. Now, yes, of course, they do teach us how to count money, but they don't necessarily teach us about saving it or bills or credit or taxes or loans. Heck, all of that is so foreign and unknown to you unless someone took the time to instill these habits in you and also teach you what they were. My parents definitely gave me the basics, don't get me wrong, but I still didn't understand the full picture and definitely didn't feel like taking the time to learn it. I don't know, it just wasn't really like my main priority to be like, hey mom, why don't you teach me about investing my money? But if you can learn from me and all of my advice givers today, learn now, start now. There is no better day than today to start investing in your future. Oh my God. I feel like one of those people in those commercials when you watch things about finance things, and I am not a finance person. But I sound like one of those people on the commercial that's like, start investing in your future today. Call us. Anyway, but seriously, we would all like to retire one day, right? And in order to do that, you need to invest in your future. So now I want to give my listeners a voice. Here are some of the advice that the listeners gave in regard to this topic. Save your money. Yes, preach. That was a very short, sweet, to the point one, but you should save your money. Pay your bills and build your credit. Also, very important, do not forget to pay your bills. And don't just like get one in the mail and just like slide it under the rug and be like, maybe they won't come for it. They will. They will. They'll send you to collections and they're going to make you pay it. Pay your bills, build your credit. Credit is important. We're going to get to that in a second. Another one, invest money earned and spend the rest. I thought this one was interesting because I was trying to understand what it meant, and then I think I finally got it. Investing is still very new to me, but it is smart. Saving your money in a savings account is great, but if you're actually going to invest that money, the money that you're earning, you invest it, you will be able to build that quicker, faster, and to more money than a typical savings account would. And spend the rest is just like don't be afraid to spend a little bit of money, okay? Like we all need some fun money. So definitely make sure to invest some of your money earned and also spend some of your money. Now, I'm not saying to spend it all, okay? That's not what I just said. All of you out there that heard that, you're like, oh, spend money, I'll do it. That's not what I meant. And the last piece of advice that came through about money was don't buy it. You don't need it. That literally was my favorite one. I was like, yes, nailed it. And also I was like cackling as I read it because I was like, if only I could tell that to a younger me. Don't buy it. You don't need it. So I'm sure you can see that there was a general trend with each piece of advice. Make sure to start saving your money and investing your money as soon as you can. Now, I know not everybody financially can make that happen right now, but when you can, even a little bit, it will count. Start small if you need to. Learn more about investing your money. If you invest your money, you can grow that money quicker and more so than keeping it in a standard savings account. So look into it. Start making that happen today. Credit. Build your credit, people. Learn more about what that even means and what things build your credit versus what hurts your credit. Your student loans, your credit cards, all of this is going to affect your score. And one day when you actually want to buy a house and use your credit score for things, it becomes very important then. But if you've spent all this time not actually trying to build your credit, you're not going to even know what to do. And you're not going to be able to get a good loan or whatever it is you need when it comes to buying a house. Now, I'm still very new to that too. But what I do know is I've always been told ever since college, build your credit. I'm like, okay, I will. Oh, yeah. And the last piece of advice that came through, the don't buy it, you don't need it. Oh, that one hit home so much. I couldn't even count if I wanted to how many times I didn't think twice about a purchase that I surely did not need at the time. Make smart purchases, not unnecessary ones. If you truly don't have the money, don't buy it. Take it from me. Even if you have a credit card, don't buy it unless you have the money to cover that expense. Credit cards are a slippery slope, people. And when you are not managing that correctly, it can get out of control. I can speak from experience with that. When you have a credit card, you just think, oh, I got it, charge it. Got it, charge it. Get it, charge it. Don't do it. That outfit may look super cute, but you're going to wear it 4 times and you're going to be like, why did I spend so much money on that? Or when you're in an airport and you want some headphones and you're just like, oh, I could totally buy these $300 beats. Why not? Stupid. I'm talking about myself. Make yourself a monthly budget and stick to it. That's a big piece of advice right there. I never did that. I never budgeted. I never thought to do that when I was younger. And now that's something that I stick to, and it's helping me to maintain some sort of balance when it comes to my money. So now I can save, I can invest, and I also have some to use as fun money in addition to paying bills and all those things. Being an adult is hard. Sometimes being an adult can be a rude awakening, and sometimes it is really tough. But if you do the work and make sure to put your best foot forward, you'll be just fine. Trust me. Just make sure that many years from now, you're not looking back thinking of how big of a mistake you made. As you're picking up the pieces, you're going to be like, oh, I wish I would have listened to that advice on Cali Chats. I'm just kidding. But seriously, if you don't want to be that person years from now picking up the pieces and trying to build your credit and trying to, from making a big mistake, just take it from me now, make a monthly budget, stick to it, and invest your money when you can, save your money when you can, and just don't buy it if you don't need it. So that wraps up our little segment about money. So let's get on to interpersonal relationships. What do I mean by that? I got quite a bit of relationship advice popping in for the younger version of you. And trust, I get that. I'm sure we all have past relationship stories that we learned from and wish we could have avoided, but hey, it does all make you stronger. Like Brittany, she says, stronger. than yesterday. Yeah, that is how you feel when you give this advice. It really does make you stronger. One thing I always try to tell myself is it may not be the experience that you wanted, but it is the experience you needed at the time. And now that's going to help you in the future and maybe someone else in a similar experience in the future. So even if it feels really rough and tough right after, just remember that it may not be what you wanted, but maybe it was what you needed at the time. You never know. And I will say anything that has happened in my past that was negative or not great, and I learned from it, it's helping me now to know who not to date or who not to be with or what not to do when it comes to relationships. So treat everything that goes on in your life as a learning experience and make better, positive choices in the future. I used to take rejection as a failure on my part, like I did something wrong or something was wrong with me. And oftentimes, looking back, that was like certainly not the case. What I needed to do back then, and what my advice to you now is work on yourself ultimately first. Find love within yourself before you search to share that with another. If you often blame yourself for everything within a relationship, there is certainly something not right about that. I urge you to take your time when you're finding that special someone. It may feel impossible at times and like there's no one out there for you, but that is most definitely not the case. Do the work on you. Trust me, guys. Do the work on you, and someone out there in the future will swoop in and pick you up, and the time will be perfect, and it'll all happen, okay? You just have to wait until you're ready. Sometimes we just rush into relationships, and then we realize, oh, wow, that is not what I want right now. And then we end up hurting people, we break up, and all this stuff. But if you would have just done the work on yourself when you should have, could have avoided all that pain. So take your time when choosing a partner in your life. Aside from intimate relationships, there was also a lot of advice that came in about friendships, people, and acquaintances. Toxic relationships come in many forms, and not all are just in the form of a significant other. You can have toxic family members, toxic friends, toxic coworkers, all around you. There's tons of toxic people. And you have to choose how you can positively get yourself into a better place away from all the toxic mess weighing you down. We're definitely going to dig into friendship in another episode in the future because that is just a massive topic. There are fair weather friends, there are toxic friends, and then alternatively, there is like the best kind of friends, like the ones who fill you up. My advice to you is keep and foster the friendships that fill your soul up and do away with the rest. Now, I know that's pretty blunt, but seriously, any relationship that at its basis is bringing you down and ultimately hurting you is not worth your time until both people involved can see that and do the work to fix it. Sometimes it's not worth fixing, but there also are cases where maybe it's worth a try. I'm not saying that, like, if you got a toxic friend in your life, it's like, drop them. I mean, maybe I am. I am kind of saying that. But if you do think this person is ultimately redeemable, I get that. I've had people in my life that I've questioned. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's filling my soul up. But we got past it. I have had that happen in my life where you actually communicate and figure out what the problem is and work on it. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes down to it, choose the friendships that fill you up. That's it. And if the other ones are not, and if these people are not doing good by you, let it go. Just let it go. And if it comes back later and it's a much more positive friend, take it back, if you trust them. But make sure you're doing what's best for you. Now onto the part of the segment where I give my listeners a shout out. Here are some of the big advice takeaways to the younger yous that came through. How to play my role in a relationship. Do not stay in a toxic relationship because it's comfortable and familiar. They do not change. Not everyone has to like me. Do not get married. LOL in caps. Or don't rush at least. Okay, that's the second part of that one. The person wrote, don't get married, lol, or don't rush at least. That one made me laugh really hard. I don't know why, but it just was like, it really got me. It caught me by surprise. And then the last one I'm going to share today is how to be by myself and be okay with that. Like there is zero need to be with someone to do what the heck you want to do. A lot of good advice there. I really liked those. The don't get married one legit made me cackle. I mean, it just made me cackle again, but when it came through, it made me cackle. In all honesty, people, take your time. Just like I said earlier, when you choosing a partner, take your time. There is seriously no rush when it comes to marriage. So many people put a timetable or deadline on getting married and having kids, and that to me is insanity. Do not do that. There is no reason to rush into any type of relationship in your life. Just don't. Don't do it. Make sure you are not only ready, but are sure that this is the step that you want to take in your life, and also that this is the step with your partner. You know, like you want to take this step with your partner. Just make sure you're ready to take that step before you take it, okay? And then the next one I really identified well with was not everyone has to like me. I struggled so much with this my whole life, feeling like I just needed to be liked by everyone. But hey, who cares? I mean, who cares? If someone doesn't like me or I'm not their cup of tea, whatever. I got all of these amazing people who love me, so why do I need to chase after these people who don't? You know, like I wasn't built to please these people, so I don't know why I have to. But as a people pleaser, you know, it kind of goes against my core to not try and please them. But stop. Not everyone has to like you, okay? It's okay. Just move on. And then the next one that I thought was good too is like learning who you are in a relationship. You know, the first person said how to play my role in a relationship. And I took that as, you know, learning who you are in a relationship and ultimately how to not lose yourself while in one is super important when you're navigating a relationship. I've had many friends go through this where ultimately they lost who they were when they were with that other person. They didn't see their friends anymore. They didn't share their significant other with these people. That's kind of a weird way to put it. I don't want you to think I'm like, share them. No, but you know what I mean? Like they weren't opening up and being themselves with their friends and stuff once they were in a relationship. They just got cut off. They stopped talking to people and they lost themselves. They lost what they love to do. They lost doing what they want to do, and they started doing whatever their significant other was. Or maybe it's just that they decided to just cut themselves off and only focus on the relationship, which in the short term, not a bad thing. But if that's long term, it's not great because then you end up with no friends and only one human to always be around. It all starts with self-love. Knowing yourself and being okay with being alone with that person is super important before you engage in a relationship with someone else. In the words of RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? I love you, RuPaul, and thank you so much for your wisdom over the years. I have shared this on my blog. I've shared this on my podcast. It's good advice. So, thank you, RuPaul. All right. Onward and upward to our next segment, career stuff. So before we get started, I do have a shameless plug for Cali Careers. Cali Careers is a branch of Cali Creates that has all the tools you need to put your best foot forward when navigating your career. There are blogs, helpful tools, free resume and cover letter templates, and so much more. Yeah, you heard me. Free resume and cover letter templates. You can check it out today at calicreates.com/Cali-careers. If you don't have a pen, that is totally okay. I have linked it in the episode bio this week, so go and check it out. Anywho, I received a good bit of advice when it comes to your career and what you would say to a younger you just starting out. On this segment of the episode, I want to share the advice from the listeners first before really getting into the meat of the topic. So here we go. Number 1, get out there and make more connections. It really helps with the career stuff. Lol. Everybody be laughing at themselves. Everybody put like lol in their advice. And so it's like you're kind of like, are you laughing? Because you're like, wow, wish I did that. And then 2, despite what your employer says, they do not always have your best interest at heart. Everyone is replaceable. Woo! Hey. Yeah, that one hits deep, huh? Early on in your career, you trust a lot. You don't know why you shouldn't. You then learn later how, unfortunately, some companies do treat you like a number and not a person. It's always important to ask key questions early on when navigating job searching and picking where you want to spend your days. We spend a hell of a lot more time at work than anywhere else, so make sure you like it. Now, life is a little different career-wise for some people post-pandemic. Others, it's exactly the same. It hasn't changed at all, but anyone in the business world who can work from a computer probably was sent home to work from home during the pandemic, and many work from home now, like me. But working from home doesn't change this advice. You still are replaceable. It is important to always keep your options open and ask the right questions throughout your employment. And I'm not saying that there aren't companies out there who do care about you. If you work for one of those companies, send it on over. I'm just kidding. Send it on over. I'm just kidding. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. So I'm good. But if you do want to send stuff over, whatever. Why are you barking? Oh. Ginger! Chill. What's she barking at? Oh my goodness. Okay, I might leave this in because it's kind of funny. But my dog, if you can hear her faintly in the background, I have my window open up here in my studio. I'm just kidding, my bedroom. And she's just seeing some dogs walking outside and decided to go, ham on them. She's like, I got you. You coming in my house? I'm like, they're like a mile away, Ginger. Gosh, sit down. Where were we? Oh my gosh, I'm so off topic now. Ginger, lay down. Good girl. Chill. Okay. Moving on. Oh yeah, we were talking about post-pandemic life and work from home life. Okay. So like I was saying, just remember when you're navigating job searching to make sure you're picking the right place and that you ask the right questions. But also remember that when you are in a company, you are a number when it really comes down to it. They may care about you to a point, or at least your manager does, but when it comes down to it and the money is not being made, they got to make cuts, you might be that person. So always keep your eyes open and your ears listening and looking out there for stuff because you never know when you might need it. And if I have any college peeps listening, start connecting now. Networking and connections are the way of the world today. It is key in the business world now. Most of my jobs and clients have all come through LinkedIn and the people I know from connections or the past. I have connections from college. I have connections from my numerous jobs, my friends, speakers from events, you name it, I've connected to it. Start early and make those connections now, or trust me, you will regret it. I have many friends who weren't as proactive as I was early on in my career and weren't connecting, and now they're having trouble when trying to find new jobs. So connect and network as much as you can. It is our world now. And to be honest, LinkedIn makes that incredibly easy. There is no excuses to get out there and make connections. Build your career. Start today. And now on to the final topic of the day. We've finally made it to words of wisdom. This is my favorite topic of today. And really, I'm just going to highlight my favorite words from all of you that tuned in and gave me your advice to a younger you. And then I'm going to share also my own advice to myself. So let's start off with the advice that came into me via Facebook and Instagram from all of you lovelies. Number 1, The best is yet to come. 2. Always prioritize yourself. 3. The life you have built for yourself so far has deeper roots than you know. 4. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. 5. Traveling abroad solo teaches you more about the world and yourself than a classroom ever could. 6. Societal norms are bull. Now, this person did put a bad word, but I don't want to put a beep in here, so I'm just going to say bull. Societal norms are bull, and it's okay that your life map takes a different course than everyone else's. 7. You don't have to do things in the expected order to be happy or successful. And last but not least, number 8. Don't take things too seriously. Woo! I am all up in my feels right now. Like, I have constant goosies. Each and every one of these are great, and thank you to all of the words of wisdom that came in for the series. Your additions have made this episode complete, and I'm so grateful and thankful to all of you. Lastly, I will leave you with my advice. Always practice gratitude towards yourself and others. Build your army, do the work on you, and practice patience. The best version of yourself is out there, waiting for you to get there. Just keep going and keep doing the positive work, and you'll get there. I promise. I love you guys so much. I'm sure you're tired of hearing that, but seriously, I do. I'm so grateful to all of the support from all of you, and I can't wait to close up this series of This is 30 next week with the final installment, This is 30, A New Beginning. Monday marked the start of my birthday week, and my 30th birthday is this Friday, the 23rd. I'm so excited. Crazy. As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Cali Chats, and don't forget to check out listener support. I love doing what I do for y'all here at Cali Chats and over on the Cali Creates blog, and your support helps me level up this podcast and give you the best experience possible when creating the content you see at Cali Creates. I'm so excited to finish up this series next week and start a new topic in a couple of weeks. Love you, and talk to you soon. Bye! If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts. For more from Cali Chats, visit CaliCreates.com, or you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Everything is linked in the podcast bio. Talk to y'all later. Bye!